Hi everyone, welcome back to Cloud9 Intuitive. Thank you so much for being here with me. I am here to do a collective reading for the Venus retrograde in Leo transit, which is taking place from July 22nd, which is the date that I'm recording this, all the way through September 3rd. Venus does go retrograde every 18 months. And every 18 months we get a chance to reflect on the themes of Venus, such as relationships, romantic relationships, interpersonal relationships, and friendships, as well as material possessions, those things we value, our own self-worth, and reflect on those things in relation to whatever sign Venus is retrograding in. And it is now currently retrograding in the sign of Leo, which is really all about the heart. Like our truest expression of self, our like purest shine, and how do we cultivate that, and also hold ourselves accountable for being that in the world in some way, shape, or form. We're given an opportunity to reevaluate and reassess and reflect on our relationships and our values, and as a collective, how those things how they have served us, how our relationships to those things have served us, and how perhaps it is time for them to evolve. So there can be some sort of shakeups when it comes to relationships, or it comes to our value systems individually or as a collective, and really like money, financial systems, financial structures, all of those things we're going to have a chance to reflect on all of those things. And it's entirely possible that those reflections will be inspired by surprises and unexpected shifts and changes. The other thing that this transit is going to give us an opportunity to reflect on and reevaluate is how we're making space for art and beauty and creativity in our lives, both being nourished by those things and also really leaning into our own unique expressions of creativity. Remember, we had the nodes of the moon switch recently, and the North Node is now in Aries, where we are making sure that as we're stepping forward, we're honoring ourselves and honoring the lives that we intend to create. And sometimes that means that there have to be shakeups, evolutions of experiences, transformations of experiences. And now is a great time to decide what that actually looks like practically in your relationships, and how you might want to shift your relationship to material things, material possessions, and your values. Okay, so let's just do a quick reading. I am going to do a pick a card over on Patreon, so you can follow us over there afterwards. I'll put the shuffle at the end of this reading so you can take a look and see if any of the piles are resonating with you. And if you are so called, follow us on over to Patreon to get your message. But right now, let's just get a collective message. What is this transit? What is the collective meant to take from this transit? Venus retrograde in Leo. Ooh. Yeah, pause, reflect. the Hanged Man here. Take the time, like, especially like in relationships, right? It's like, don't make any rush decisions. This is definitely not a time for rushed decisions or impulsivity. If you are being cosmically afforded the time, like there are no unexpected surprises, really take the time to reflect on your relationships before you make decisions one way or another. Don't jump into anything too fast. Really try to get a full perspective of it, because you want to make sure that it is in alignment with the vision that you have, right? And that it's sort of speaking to your higher self still, right? That's the thing. Like, it's kind of like taking this time to really cultivate that relationship with self, to be your own best friend, right? And oh wow, the Five of Cups in reverse. Interesting. To be your own best friend and like not get sucked into the story of like regret and disappointment, and like it's almost like it's feeling like everything's been wasted. Like don't throw everything away because you're feeling some type of way during this transit, during this next, I think, what is it, 45 days or something like that we are in this retrograde. Take some time to sit with yourself. It might ultimately come to the ending, but you want to make sure that you are sure, because you don't, number one, if it really is an ending here with the World card, it is. If you really are ending something, ending some sort of cycle, ending like really, you don't want it to come back. You don't want it to come back up on you. For some of you, you're not set. I mean, for some of you out there, it really is like when you take this pause, this moment to like really get in alignment with your higher self and refine your own perspective, you will realize like, oh, I'm not really like that. You're not really that sad about the closeout of the cycle. It's not like it's like you're all right. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, it's kind of like exhilarating because there's a new beginning afoot. You have the Judgment card. It's like there's a being ready for this to be over too. It almost feels like you feel, I don't know, they're giving me the word redeemed and restored. You feel redeemed and restored after the closeout of this thing. You feel more in alignment with your higher self, and I think you're honestly rewarded for using your discernment, for taking the time to use your discernment to come to the decision of the closeout. This closeout might be a process for some of you. Whatever you're closing out, whether it's relationships. Excuse me. What's this? And then the Fool card. It's so funny because it's like one side it's all about setting up clear boundaries, taking the time to set up the clear boundaries. That's why you can't really rush. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you want to make sure that everything is as it should be so it doesn't come back up. All the loose ends are tied. The loose ends are tied. The understandings are mutual, and like you can move forward in peace. There's something about that here. And this retrograde is giving you an opportunity to do that, to make sure of that. So that this new beginning that's being given to you for honoring this higher self alignment is going to feel very fresh, very light, very intuitively guided with this amethyst. She has this amethyst in her hand. Very intuitively guided here in this whatever the new beginning is. It's so interesting because it's like it gives me like one side and the other side. Like it's like on one hand there's this separation, this grief over the separation, right? It's there. There's grief over the separation, grief about the things that have to end, grief about the I mean, they're giving like that this is what it's come to somehow. I don't know what it is for you, but there's some sort of grief about like that this is what it's come to, you know, that this was the resolve. But then there's also this like this hopeful promise, because you know in a way that even in all this sorrow, that feels like the sorrow feels like, you know when a book that you really enjoyed is over and like you are left to sort of just like hold the characters, you know, in your heart in some way, but you know, like you'll never experience them in that same way again. That feels like the sorrow here, right? It feels like the sorrow, but then on the other hand, it's like you understand that there's a new story that is reflective of like a new experience of bliss and harmony, because it's responding to this like calling, this calling of your higher self. Anything else before I wrap this one up? Anything else? Come on. High Priestess. Yes, this calling of the higher self, this honoring of the inner knowing. It's like, but there's a process that needs to be gone through here to make sure that the resolution, there's an emotional resolution, because you want to leave things. It's kind of like, you know, if you like hurt yourself and you don't like treat it right, like in the right amount of in the amount of time, and there's in a certain amount of time, if it doesn't get the appropriate treatment in a certain amount of time, it will heal funny, or it will always smart, or it will like you'll never quite get the right like gait back or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like you want to be able to, like, you don't want it to heal with this like raised thing. Like there's a way that this can be healed so that it doesn't always, or that it can be resolved so that it doesn't always like burn or hurt when you think about it, you know, or when you have to experience and encounter it. That's what the process is here for those of you who are having something close out and leaning into this new beginning, this new this new call to bliss. This new call to bliss. There's a lot of worry about this. A lot of yes, it's a retrograde, right? So there's going to be like this reflection and review of the past in like totality when it comes to all of these themes that are governed by Venus, right? There's going to be like this long reflective period, right? So that you can make the adjustments and decide how you are going to be stepping forward into this new beginning here. This new life, new world, new experience. It doesn't feel like there's like a lot of options that upon review of the situation you will come to understand that you don't have many options except to allow for the cycle to close, except for to allow the resolution that affords healing, because you won't be able to resist this calling. You won't be able to resist this calling. Let's do a wisdom of the oracle, and I'll read I'll read from the book to wrap it up, and then we're going to go over to Patreon and do a pick a card, which is an exercise in intuition. So if you are interested in exercising your intuition, watch the shuffle after this, and then you can go ahead and click the link in the pinned comment and come on over and join us in that space. What do we have? Imagine. You're imagining what life can look like when you honor your bliss, when you honor your heart's calling, your heart's truth. You're imagining what that could look like. Let's see. Card number. Okay. The relationship message, that's the one that we will read. I think there's a prosperity message too. We may read that one as well. So let's just see. It says, in matters of the heart, it's easy to daydream about another as a means of connecting to that person. While that's romantic, if you want this relationship to be real, you need to go for it, not just dream about it. Now is the time to move beyond the daydream and into reality, beyond illusion and into fruition. Relationships are about relating. So step into the dance floor where imagination partners with manifestation. The message of this card is that a person with attributes you have imagined will enter your life. You'll be changed for the better. Imagine that. And then the next message I'll read, the prosperity message, says, This is a powerful time to get clear on how you create your prosperity, what it means to you to be prosperous, and what attributes you need to develop in yourself to make those things happen. Who do you need to be to live out your dreams? Can you imagine the kind of life you desire? Really imagine it without holding back the sheer force of your powers of creativity. How can you envision it? If you can envision it, you can have it. Get ready for prosperity is waiting for you to claim it now. Act as if your dreams will really come true. Your dreams have already come true. Just waiting for you to catch up. All right, I'm going to take it over to Patreon. Watch the shuffle that's popping off right now. If you want to book a personal, links in the description box below. If this reading resonated with you and you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up, drop me a comment. And if this is where we leave things, please know that I'm sending you so much love, so much peace, so many blessings. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.